Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. Listen everyone, everything is not always as it seems. Keep that in mind as I share this next story with you. You see the image on the screen there. It looks so wonderful. It looks like something wonderful is happening. You have an officer there holding this little child in her arms. 2-year-old child, and there's a caption above the image that reads as follows, and it's from the National Fraternal Order of Police. This is what it says. It says, "This child was lost during the violent riots in Philadelphia, wandering around barefoot in an area that was experiencing complete lawlessness. The only thing this Philadelphia police officer cared about in that moment was protecting this child. We are not your enemy. We are the thin blue line, and we are the only thing standing between order and anarchy." Okay, so that is what the caption above the image reads. But the real story is quite different. The real story is quite different. The mom was actually dragged from her vehicle by officers. Her toddler was sitting in the back seat. Okay, she's going to be filing a lawsuit because it was claimed that this child, you see the caption there, the caption said something totally different. The caption said nothing about the mom that was dragged or yanked from her vehicle and beaten by officers while her child was sitting in the back seat. You see, they were in an area where the protests were occurring, but the child was in the vehicle. The child was in the vehicle. And so it's really something how it was seen totally different by the person who put the caption or wrote that piece for that article to make it appear as though something beautiful was happening, when actually something totally different happened. So I'm going to read some of the article associated with this to give you a little more of the backstory. It says, as some protesters smashed storefront windows to make off with merchandise during the chaos of Monday night's Walter Wallace Jr. protest, some Philadelphia police officers smashed an SUV window and violently yanked out its driver and a teenage passenger, threw them to the ground, then pulled a small child from the back seat. The incident was captured on video and streamed live by April Rice, who watched the surreal scene from a rooftop across the street. In it, she narrates, as more than a dozen police officers swarmed the dark SUV, which appeared to be trying to slowly make its way out of the melee. Officers shouted for the driver to get out of the car before at least two bashed in several of its windows with their batons. With the windows destroyed, officers apparently forcibly removed Rakia Young, who was driving at the time, and her 16-year-old nephew. The two are surrounded by officers who appeared to wail on two bodies on the ground. Moments later, another officer grabs the child out of the back seat and carries him away. On Thursday, lawyers representing Young and her 2-year-old son, who is hearing impaired, said she was beaten by the officers, separated from her child for hours, and kept in handcuffs while being treated for injuries at a hospital. Civil rights attorney Kevin Mincy and Riley H. Ross III said the 28-year-old woman, who is a home health care aide, is filing a civil rights case against the police department. The Philadelphia Inquirer reports Mincy said Young had a bloody nose, a swollen trachea, blood in her urine, and swelling and pain on her left side, while the child was treated at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia for a large welt on his head. Police Commissioners Daniel Outlaw said that incident is under investigation by Philadelphia Police Department Internal Affairs. In a video interview on Friday, Outlaw said one of the officers, the one that we see using the strikes against the car, has been put on restricted duty pending the outcome of the investigation. She did not name the officer. In an interview with the Inquirer, Young's attorney explained that she had set out for the part of West Philadelphia in an effort to get her son to fall asleep in the car. She decided to drive to pick up her 16-year-old nephew who lives in that neighborhood, but on her way home ran into the police barricade. Young tried to make a 3-point turn to head in the opposite direction, but that's when the officers attacked the vehicle, Mincy said. He said that when Young asked where the police were taking her child, they refused to tell her, saying, "He's going to go to a better place. We're going to report it to the Department of Human Services." Young was initially transported to police headquarters, but then transferred to Jefferson University Hospital for medical treatment, where she remained handcuffed, Mincy recounted. Young was then taken back to police headquarters, and although she spent the night in a holding cell, was released without being charged. Meanwhile, her son was taken about 4 miles away from the scene, where his grandmother found him sitting in his car seat in a police cruiser with 2 officers, the Inquirer reported. Mincy said the child's car seat was still covered in shattered glass from the SUV's broken window, and he had a lump on his head. Okay, so we see the image of the officer holding the child, and the caption made it appear as though something wonderful was happening. Something wonderful. Incredible. This is unbelievable. I'm going to finish reading the rest of the article here. It says the National Fraternal Order of Police on Thursday posted a close-up image of an officer on social media with a caption that read, "This child was lost during the violent riots in Philadelphia, wandering around barefoot in an area that was experiencing complete lawlessness. The only thing this police officer cared about in that moment was protecting this child." When contacted by reporters asking questions about the post and the false claim alongside it, the FOP removed the image. Later, a spokesman told the Inquirer the organization subsequently learned of conflicting accounts of the circumstances under which the child came to be assisted by the officer, and immediately took the photo and caption down. But Riley Ross, a partner at the firm representing Young, called the move racist propaganda. "This post by the FOP is a lie," he wrote in a tweet. This photo was taken moments after police attacked their vehicle, busted out the windows, ripped the mother from the car, and assaulted her. He added, "Our firm will not stand for this blatant attempt to use our clients to peddle propaganda by using racism and fear to force compliance." So you see, things are not always as they appear. In this case, they wanted people to believe that something wonderful happened, that they saved the day, but in all actuality, that didn't take place. The mom was attacked, and a lie was put forth to demonize her and to make it seem as though the officers there on duty did something wonderful and amazing to help save this child. So everything is not always as it seems. Any story can be presented to make something appear one way when the truth is totally different. And these are the things that mankind has been doing for a very long time because they don't believe that our Creator is watching. They don't believe it. So their goal is to sway the minds of people because they know they can paint a certain picture or image to sway the thoughts of others. You see, they know that they can imply something with a picture that is totally different from what the truth is. Many years ago, I did a video and it was called "An Implication is Just as Bad as an Accusation." As a matter of fact, I may redo or revisit that subject because examples can be shown to where something was implied about a situation. Implied meaning that they didn't directly say that this is what happened. Okay, but the implication is that this is what happened, but the truth is actually something totally different. You see, so a person can imply, they can say, "Ooh, if I were you, I would watch him," or "I would watch her." And so there's an implication there, but they're not actually telling you any details about why this person should be watched. And so that implication will cause others to think, what was that all about? What did he mean by that? Or what does she mean by that? I think I'm going to watch that person because what they said really got me bothered. You see, so I think I want to revisit that subject because this right here, they use a picture to imply that something wonderful took place by the officers. But the truth of the matter is something totally different. Okay, in this case, the implication wasn't a bad implication. So when I say an implication is just as bad as an accusation, but in this case, an implication is being shown as though something good happened when that is not what took place. Okay, it was actually something bad, but the picture was implying that something good happened, but the mother was actually attacked. So I just wanted to share this story because I thought it was interesting how we have things that are happening that are appearing to be good, but they're really not. And then you have things that are happening that appear to be bad, but they're really not. And so we've got to be very careful about what comes across our feeds, our news feeds and the news channels, because there is a lot of okie doke going on out here in the world, and we've got to pay very close attention. Otherwise, you will find yourself deceived. But I just wanted to share this story with you to see how the okie doke is constantly being pulled on people. And we are expected to just believe everything that comes across to support those who have made themselves enemies. They've literally made themselves enemies, but we are expected to trust nonetheless. So now this mom will never trust again. She will never trust them again because that was violated in a major way. When there's a history of lying that takes place by certain groups, it's like you're still expected to believe. You're still expected to believe their narrative. And that is a sad reality that we face. But anyway, I'm done with the story. I just wanted to share this with you. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, share and like this video. And with that, I'm out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.